Southwest Airlines just lost 13 jets. Not crashed, not retired, lost from their delivery schedule. And this changes everything about U.S. air travel. Southwest went to 2025 expecting 86 new Boeing 737 MAX aircraft. The plan was simple: refresh aging frames, grow capacity modestly, and keep the wheels turning on a 50-year all 737 strategy. Now the math has shifted. Instead of 86 jets, Southwest will receive 73. 13 planes missing from the year's deliveries isn't a rounding error. It's a capacity hole that translates to roughly $1.3 billion in lost aircraft value on conservative list price terms, and more importantly, lost flying capacity. For an airline that targets modest growth, 1 to 2% year-on-year expansion, the 13-jet shortfall pushes that target into the red. Routes that were slated for new frequency, new markets that were penciled in for incremental service, and plans to retire older, less efficient aircraft all become second-order casualties of this delivery gap. Why did these jets vanish from Southwest's schedule? Let's start with Boeing's production crisis. Following a high-profile door panel detachment incident in January 2024, regulators and customers scrutinized Boeing's quality control like never before. The FAA imposed a production cap, roughly 38 aircraft per month in early 2024, a blunt instrument designed to let Boeing fix process shortcomings without producing more potentially defective jets. Production caps are not paperwork blips. They throttle the assembly line, constrain supplier cadence, and force resequencing of delivery slots. The Renton and Everett lines that once mirrored a smooth pipeline now had to operate under a hard ceiling. The immediate result? Aircraft that should have been built and handed off in 2025 were delayed, and that domino included Southwest's 13-jet gap. Crucially, Boeing still faces quality control challenges preventing the cap's easy removal. Door panels were the visible symptom. The underlying issues touch multiple suppliers, inspection regimes, and assembly work streams. No firm timeline for full production normalization exists, and that uncertainty trickles directly into airline planning. Production caps were bad. The labor distribution that followed made recovery harder. A multi-week stoppage, 7 weeks or more on the factory floor, shut down crucial segments of Boeing's production. Restarting modern jet assembly is not like flipping a switch. Skilled teams have to reacclimate. Supply chains have to sync back up. Subcontractors need to catch up. Boeing itself estimated a 30 to 60-day recovery window after the strike ended, and even that is optimistic in a system with thousands of critical path parts. Southwest CEO Bob Jordan warned publicly that continued delivery cuts could force operational reconsideration. That language matters. It means Southwest is thinking beyond short delays. They're planning contingency measures that could alter route networks, retirement plans, and possibly fleet strategy. Workers walking off the line, suppliers missing windows, and Boeing struggling with quality, all layered together to turn a production hiccup into a strategic crisis for major customers. If you're following the behind-the-scenes of airline strategy and fleet decisions, hit subscribe now. We dig into exactly these hidden supply chain risks. Add certification drama to the production headaches. Southwest ordered the MAX 7 in large numbers, a model chosen specifically to replace the older 737-700s and extend Southwest's range and efficiency without giving up single-type simplicity. The MAX 7 promised better fuel burn and greater range, perfect for mid-length domestic and transcontinental markets. But certification moved in the wrong direction. Earlier expectations of near-term entry slipped. The MAX 7 certification timeline pushed into 2026. Technical challenges cited around certification included engine-related issues and damage tolerance concerns. Reported items like thermal or bird strike resilience and other certification tests became sticking points. Whatever the technical specifics, the result is the same. Planes Southwest needs to modernize its fleet remain grounded on paper. For Southwest, which ordered 314 MAX 7s to carry out a planned phased replacement of its aging workhorses, that delay is existential. Competitors buying available new frames and retrofitting networks with modern aircraft will gain an efficiency edge while Southwest is forced to fly older jets longer. Southwest's fleet picture is stark. Roughly 323 Boeing 737-700s remain a major portion of their line. These are reliable aircraft, but by today's standards, they're less fuel efficient and more expensive to operate per seat mile than newer MAX variants. In Q1 2025, Southwest retired 14 aircraft, 12 from the 737-700 cohort. Those retirements were planned around incoming MAX deliveries. Without new jets replacing them, Southwest can either delay retirements or fly older aircraft longer than planned. Both choices have costs. Deferring retirements means higher fuel burn and maintenance. Accelerating retirement without replacements means fewer seats to sell. A widening fuel efficiency gap versus rivals is more than accounting noise. Competitors operating A321neos, MAX 89s, and other modern narrowbodies will burn substantially less per seat, giving them pricing flexibility and margin advantage. Southwest's inability to swiftly replace 700s with 7s risks ceding route economics and profit pools to legacy carriers and low-cost rivals alike. We get to the numbers, capacity planning and growth targets. With 13 jets missing and more uncertainty on the horizon, Southwest pushed capacity guidance down. Projections now reflect only about 1.5% growth in the second half of 2025, effectively flat to slightly up, rather than the steady expansion the airline had aimed for. Operationally, this forces prioritization. Southwest will focus available aircraft on high-yield, high-frequency trunk routes. Secondary and thin markets, the lower margin, community connector flights, will see reduced service or temporary suspensions. That's a classic playbook when an airline tightens capacity. Protect profitable core routes, cut marginal flying. But once cuts occur, markets often don't come back quickly. Competitors seize the moment to add frequencies or target leisure routes with aggressive pricing. Southwest's 1-2% growth cushion evaporates into market share risk. Want to know how airline capacity shifts translate into your ticket price? Stay tuned, we'll break that down in upcoming videos. Passengers feel this at the point of sale. Fewer seats means higher fares where demand remains stable. A shrinking product on marginal routes means fewer nonstop options and longer itineraries with connections. Travelers in secondary markets may find themselves forced back into legacy hubs or into competitors who seized those routes. Older aircraft staying in service longer means a softer product for passengers. Louder cabins, fewer fuel efficiency gains that could translate into lower fares, and in some cases less reliability if older airframes require more maintenance. Meanwhile, United, Delta, and American, who are often less constrained because of varied fleet types or different delivery schedules, stand ready to capture growth and offer more modern interiors on competitive routes. In short, less capacity, higher fares on popular routes, and an erosion of Southwest network simplicity for the customers who trusted it. The crisis exposes a deeper strategic tension. Southwest's identity is tightly wound to a 50-plus year Boeing-only fleet strategy. That single-type approach delivered massive operational simplicity and cost control. But with Boeing's deliveries constrained, the question arises, will Southwest remain doctrinaire, or will business reality force a reassessment? One shock scenario. If supply issues persist, Southwest may at least consider diversifying its order book, or even exploring secondary options to protect growth. That would be seismic. A single order for Airbus narrowbodies or even leasing large quantities from the secondary market would break a half-century norm. For Boeing, the stakes are existential in the U.S. market. Losing Southwest's exclusive loyalty, even partially, would hand competitive momentum to Airbus and alter domestic manufacturer dynamics. And for U.S. air travel, this could accelerate a structural reshaping. Different aircraft families in the same routes, shifting capacity economics, and new competitive behaviors that change fares, frequencies, and even the placement of airline hubs. Southwest isn't helpless. Airlines run contingency playbooks. Short-term expect sale and leaseback transactions, deferral negotiations, and possible spot leasing of newer frames to bridge critical seasonal peaks. We already saw Southwest close a major sale leaseback to raise liquidity. Those kinds of financial moves buy runway but don't create seats. Operationally, Southwest will reshuffle flying, pull aircraft from lower demand markets to support high-yield routes, extend aircraft utilization where maintenance schedules allow, and push for slot trading agreements with other carriers in congested airports. There's also the political and supplier route. Pressure Boeing and regulators to accelerate certification and production fixes. Longer term, boardrooms will evaluate strategic options, break the single fleet doctrine, buy used younger frames on the secondary market, or even pursue faster lease agreements for new aircraft from less constrained manufacturers. Each choice comes with trade-offs in cost, training complexity, and brand identity. Who gains as Southwest's capacity tightens? United, Delta, and American are immediate beneficiaries. They can add frequencies where Southwest pulls back, or raise fares on routes where Southwest used to force aggressive pricing. Low-cost carriers with flexible fleets and available narrowbodies may also cherry-pick leisure markets. Who loses? Communities relying on Southwest's point-to-point model may see reduced connectivity. Business travelers who count on high frequency also face friction. And Southwest itself risks long-term brand erosion if customers perceive network instability. Finally, the ripple extends beyond one airline. If Boeing cannot stabilize production and certification, the U.S. narrowbody market tilts. Less new supply means higher leasing costs, longer lead times, and a seller's market for available new jets. That elevates costs across the board and compresses industry capacity growth. Airlines will accelerate partnerships, code shares, and capacity swaps to plug holes. Regulators will stay engaged, balancing safety and production normalization with the economic impacts of constrained deliveries. Investors will price in a more volatile airline landscape, rewarding carriers that diversify their risk or penalizing those locked to a single supplier. Southwest losing 13 jets is a headline, but it's a symptom of a deeper problem. When a single manufacturer faces quality, labor, and certification shocks, the downstream fallout touches every link in the aviation chain: airlines, airports, passengers, and markets. For Southwest, this is a crossroads. They can weather the storm within the Boeing ecosystem and hope deliveries normalize, or they can change strategy, adopt hedges, and accept the complexity they once avoided. Either outcome will reshape U.S. air travel. If you follow airline strategy, this is the one to watch. The delivery calendar is more than dates on a spreadsheet. It's the lever that shapes where planes fly, who pays what, and how competition evolves. In the weeks and months ahead, watch for lease deals, route tweaks, and any signal that Southwest is willing to rewrite a 50-year playbook. If you want deep dives into how airline networks and fleet choices shape the way we fly, subscribe and hit that bell. I'll be tracking this story as it develops, breaking down every twist. From certification news to route reshuffles and fleet strategy moves. Thanks for watching.